So now moving into LEVOIT, because they are a name brand, there's not too many annoyances because they have thought things through and kind of integrated and improved upon it. The only real one is that the tank has to come from the top. You can't like slide it in here because it won't really, it can't go in any direction. It has to be right exactly on the top, and also it can't be on any other angle. And you gotta be careful, like with all humidifiers, there's a button at the bottom, if you click on it, water will still just start coming down. But yes, all tank-based humidifiers have this feature right here where it kind of releases a valve to give water out, as you can see. At the back right here, this is not removable, but other than that, there's not much to complain about with this unit. Honestly, not really any flaws, just preference things, so I gotta give this an A. So now with this, although this one might look the prettiest, I absolutely hate this one. It is not good. I'll show you why. What is this? What is this? This is how the humidifier works. It just bounces water, and I don't know if you can see, it is getting all over the countertop if I don't have the top on. But not only that, I don't know if you notice, you probably don't, because I don't, because I can't see what the water level is. What is this? I can see it if I take this off, and see what happens when I take this off. All the condensation that's built up in here leaks and kind of drips onto my table. When I check the water level, this like dark line right here, this is not the water. This is the actual tank materials inside. The water is at around 200 milliliters. Can you see? I can't. I can barely tell. When I look inside, it is full of mist. I cannot actually tell what the water level is right now. What is this design? And as I've noticed with cheaper products, they like to cram as many possible functionalities to make it feel like it's worth a lot more, but they don't think about how it impacts the product. Like the light, I click on the light, oh, it's pretty, right? What happens when I want to turn it off? I have to cycle through each and every single light until I get the option at the end that is off. That is so annoying. Not to mention how it classifies, 1 beep is low, 2 beeps is high, but there's no indication of whether or not what mode it is in currently. There were a lot of annoyances for this product, but even discounting everything else, the condensation on the lid dripping off when I'm trying to fill the water drives me insane. So even that would give this a D. And now we move on to the annoyances. The first one, biggest one, is definitely when you kind of turn this over, this thing falls out because this is not attached to anything. This is to direct the kind of mist to whichever direction, but it just pops on like that. There's no handle, so when it gets heavy, it's a little bit awkward to hold, but not a major downside. And I don't know if you noticed, but this blue light, although this light turns on and off, this light will never turn off unless you actually turn off the device. Overall, there's not many flaws, but it's still a little bit annoying for some of them, so I gotta give this a B. And for the Honeywell, it's definitely how you have to align it. Basically, when you kind of take this whole thing off to change the filter, to do anything, you have to align it perfectly, because right now it is not aligned. You can see there's a corner right here that's not going down. And for when you want to transport it, you can't just grab it like right here. Obviously, the base won't come with you, so you have to lift it from the bottom. Thankfully, there are grips on the bottom right here that perfectly fits with your fingers, so it's easy to grab from the bottom. But another thing is, because you could potentially still have water in here, you really need to keep this level, or else, as you can see, it kind of just spills on forward pretty easily. There's some minor annoyances, but spilling water while you're transporting this is a big annoyance. So I have to downgrade this definitely to a C. You can also see the finish is not great. This is how it came. The edges are quite sharp and it's not sanded down. If you lift from the tanks, only this will go with you, so you have to lift from the very bottom. But at the very least, there is a little bit of an indent right here where your fingers can go when you try to transport it. The water is still there. Although the ledge is higher than the Honeywell, it's still going to be pretty easy to spill water. But right now, it seems pretty good. Another thing is, because there's no cap right here, unlike the Honeywell, when you have a little bit of water in here, if you can tell, you have to be really fast to put this in, or else the water will come out. So I'll show you. If I don't put it in fast and I tilt it, obviously water will come out onto the counter. But the good part is they designed it so you can basically hang it off of there, slam it in. So I think that's a pretty good compromise. Another annoying part is once in a while you hear a glug, glug, glug. I'll try to show you. That's because as the water evaporates, more water is coming out from the jug. So sometimes you'll hear the glug, glug, glug from here into the actual water tank down here. Another annoying thing is if you don't know there's water inside and you kind of just want to pick it up, now all of a sudden the water is coming out. And because of the way it's designed, it goes down and kind of slopes in, but also the cutter makes it a little bit hard to see if there's any water inside. When it gets a little bit low, but not empty, that's when you'll be at the biggest risk of that. Not to mention, because there's no handles on anywhere on the top, you gotta get your fingers underneath it here, which is not too much space in order to lift it. But the good part is, this is interchangeable, so you can use it at whichever direction, and it still works. And not only does this also have the problem of being hard to transport, the materials, the finish, everything just doesn't feel as high quality. So I gotta down this all the way to a C-. And lastly, my other LEVOIT product, and honestly, again, not much annoyances. One of it is definitely what it was again before, where you can't put it, even though it is a square, you cannot have it in any other direction. It needs to be in a single direction, which is the LEVOIT logo matching the front. Another issue is, as you can see, there are no handles, so you gotta just grab it like that and take it off. And on the back right here, again, the cables is not detachable. So if you want to clean the base, you got to bring the cables along with you. And lastly, although the knob is very satisfying, for the most part, it doesn't really do anything, because even if you try to put on medium, it doesn't really increase the steam that much. The only option, it really seems like low right towards the off button and the max right here. I got confused putting it back a few too many times. I can also recognize not having a handle is also pretty hard to grip for some people, so a B-. Next, we move on to the cost, and not just the actual cost of the product, which is easy for everyone to figure out, but the filters, the energy uses, and everything around that.